Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 30 minutes, all eyes on Islamabad as the plenary session of Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit begins. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar represents India at the summit. US raises concerns with Israel over bombing campaign in Beirut, gives 30 days deadline to boost humanitarian aid into Gaza. Georgia voters turn out in record numbers as first day of early voting comes to a close. 9 other states to start early voting this week. And in sports, toss gets delayed due to rain in Bengaluru as India takes on New Zealand in the first test. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar represented India at the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit in Pakistan's capital, Islamabad. Other leaders from SCO member states attending the summit include Chinese Premier Li Keqiang and leaders from Belarus, Kazakhstan, Russia, Tajik Prime Minister, Uzbek Prime Minister, Kyrgyzstan's Chairman of Ministers Cabinet, Zafarov Akilbek, and Iran's first Vice President Mohammad Raza Arif. Earlier, all the leaders from SCO nations posed for a group photo at the SCO meeting. The SCO CHG meeting is held annually and focuses on trade and economic agenda of the organization. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar spent a quiet day on Wednesday morning in Islamabad, doing a morning walk with Indian diplomats of the Indian High Commission in Islamabad. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar also planted a sapling at the premises of the Indian High Commission in Pakistan under Indian government's campaign of Plant for Mother. India's President Draupadi Murmu, who is on a visit to Algeria, was conferred with an honorary doctorate in Algiers in recognition of her advocacy of science and knowledge for all social groups in India. The President also visited the Roman ruins and the mausoleum in Tipaza province on the final day of her visit to Algeria.
India's President Draupadi Murmu is on a 3-day Algeria state visit. She was accorded the honorary doctorate by the Sidi Abdallah Science and Technology Pole University. President Murmu said that the doctorate conferred upon her is, in fact, an honor for India.
It is indeed a humbling experience for me to be honored with the honorary doctorate. This is an honor for my country more than for me as an individual. It is an honor you are bestowing on a country, citizen and the culture that has been an ardent and consistent champion of peace and education since time immemorial.
President Murmu said that education neutralizes the social inequalities and provides equal opportunities for all. She urged the Algerian government to avail the benefits of India's high-tech and other scholarship programs.
India provides quality education at a fraction of the cost of Western institutions to ever increasing number of students from Africa, including from Algeria. We also offer several scholarships and fellowships to African students. I invite educational institutions, governmental departments, and youth of Algeria to take advantage of various initiatives of Government of India.
President Murmu also visited the Roman ruins and the mausoleum in Tipaza province. She also inaugurated the India Corner at the Hama Garden at Jardin d'Assai. Earlier on Monday, President Murmu had a bilateral meeting with the country's President Abdelmadjid Tebboune. She also addressed the India-Algeria business community. President Murmu will also visit Mauritania and Malawi after concluding the Algeria visit.
The visit of President Draupadi Murmu to Algeria has indeed been a historic one. some new chapters have been opened between the two countries which already share a cordial relationship. President Murmu also extended an invitation to the Algerian president, which he has accepted and will be visiting India soon. With camera person Sandeep, Amit Mukherjee for DD India in Algiers.
With an aim to bolster defence cooperation between India and Japan, Army Chief General Upendra Dwivedi is on a 4-day visit to the island country. During the visit, he met Defence Minister of Japan, General Nakatani, and conveyed his commitment to further boost the bilateral defence cooperation between the two nations. Army Chief also held bilateral meetings with his Japanese counterpart, General Yasunori Morishita, and discussed plans for enhancing the army-to-army ties. The navies of India, the US, Australia and Japan are currently engaged in a wide range of maritime warfare operations as part of Exercise Malabar. The sea phase of Exercise Malabar 2024 kicked off on Tuesday off the coast of Visakhapatnam. As part of this phase, the participating navies will engage in a wide range of maritime warfare operations covering the surface, subsurface and air warfare domains. Now, these advanced and complex exercises are designed to enhance mutual understanding and coordination with the aim of operating seamlessly as a combined task force at sea. This sea phase will further strengthen interoperability between the participating nations and contribute towards enhancing regional security and stability in the Indo-Pacific. The sea phase will culminate on 18th of October with a closing ceremony for Malabar 2024. Let's get you weather updates from across India now. South Indian city of Chennai and neighbouring districts have experienced heavy rains over the past 24 hours, with an average of 15 centimetres of rainfall recorded. Several areas, including Thiruvottiyur, Manali, TVK Nagar and Anna Nagar, received over 200 millimetres of rainfall, leading to significant waterlogging and disruption. The heavy rainfall is due to depression over the southwest Bay of Bengal, which moved west-northwestwards at a speed of 12 kilometres per hour. The depression was located 360 kilometers east-southeast of Chennai and southeast of Nellore. The Met Department has issued a warning that the depression is expected to move further west-northwestwards and cross the North Tamil Nadu, South Andhra Pradesh coasts between Puducherry and Nellore close to Chennai early on Thursday morning. With more rain forecast, the Tamil Nadu government has declared a public holiday for schools and government offices. Flight operations at Chennai International Airport have been affected, with several delays and cancellations due to poor visibility and weather conditions. The Indian Medical Association Junior Doctors Network across the nation will be fasting in solidarity with the West Bengal Junior Doctors Front today. In a press statement, the IMA had stated that the junior doctors would hold the fast from dawn to dusk today across the country. This came after 5 resident doctors of Kolkata went on a hunger strike over the RG Kar Medical College and Hospital murder rape case. The doctors demand safety and security of doctors and healthcare workers in the hospitals, among others. On Monday, the Resident Doctors Association of AIIMS New Delhi wrote an urgent letter to the President of India requesting immediate intervention in the ongoing doctors' hunger strike. You're watching DD India Live. We're heading for a short break. But after the break, snap elections in Iceland on November 30th following the collapse of the fractious coalition. Boeing makes effort to end the strike by factory workers in Seattle, demanding a better wage deal. World Food Day observed annually on October 16th, a revolution against hunger.
geopolitics and trade deals, economic challenges amid development, hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium, we'll get you centered with the economic brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India Live and I'm Preeti. Earlier in the bulletin, we told you about Foreign External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar's participation at the SCO Summit in Islamabad. And now we'll get you more on the statement by the External Affairs Minister at the forum. The minister said at the outset, "Let me congratulate Pakistan for its presidency of the SCO Council of Heads of Government this year. India has extended its full support for a successful presidency. We meet at a difficult time in world affairs. Two major conflicts are underway, each with its own global repercussions. The COVID pandemic has left many in the developing world deeply devastated. Disruption of various kinds, ranging from extreme climate events to supply chain uncertainties and financial volatility, are impacting growth and development. Debt is a serious concern, even as the world falls behind in achieving the SDG targets. Technology holds great promise as well as raising a new host of concerns. How should the members of the SCO respond to these challenges and excellencies? The answers lie in the charter of our organization, and I urge you to reflect on Article 1 that spells out the goals and tasks of the SCO. Let me summarize it for our collective consideration. The objective is to strengthen mutual trust, friendship, and good neighborliness. It is to develop multifaceted cooperation, especially for a regional nature. It is to be a positive force in terms of balanced growth, integration, and conflict prevention." All right, our correspondent Jessica is joining us to get us more. Jessica, good afternoon. Now, we've just shown a part of the External Affairs Minister's statement at the SCO Summit in Islamabad. You get us more, get us the other highlights of the statement. In a gist, explain the statement to us.
Well, as you pointed out, those were the few key takeaways from the SCO Summit of the External Affairs Minister's remarks there. Keeping in with Article 1 of the SCO, talking about, relationships that have existed over the years. Also, it's important to point out where Dr. S. Jaishankar also says that globalization and rebalancing are realities that cannot be denied at this point. And given that the SCO is taking place in Pakistan, there are, of course, concerns about terrorist activities. And let's not forget that the SCO member nations, which also includes the likes of Tajikistan, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, Iran, along with Belarus, are countries that cooperate on anti-terror networks and has also set up a mechanism and structures to that effect to counter terrorism in the region. Now, this Eurasian, the composition of these Eurasian countries, along with Pakistan, China, and Russia, have in the past as well spoken, about terrorism activities and security and peace in the region. But as you also said, Dr. S. Jaishankar's remarks also point towards the two conflicts taking place around the world that have certainly impacted us in more ways than one, the region of Eurasia as well. So given all of these situations in mind, it has become important to word it to an effect where there are relationships of neighborliness, which has been the focus of this entire multilateral cooperation.
Yes, Jessica, the minister also talked of how if there is a dearth of trust and also, if the friendship is missing somewhere, then introspection is required. So this is clearly a reference to the current, state of relationship between India and Pakistan. Jessica, are you there with us?
when it comes to the current relationship between India and Pakistan, it has certainly been made clear from the Indian side that terror and talks won't go together. And until the time the issue of terrorism is not tackled, there will be no bilateral meeting or no cooperation in a sense where it could engage in a dialogue with Pakistan on that. Even though Dr. S. Jaishankar's presence in Islamabad, of course, hints at the fact that situation and multilateral arrangements like these you will continue to see participation from India, but when it comes to bilateral settings and solving issues, those will not certainly be part of this mechanism. This mechanism is limited to economic and security coordination within the Eurasian region. So given the close ambit, it is of course with that entire purpose that India participates in the SCO since 2017.
All right. Also, Jessica, help us understand the footing of the SCO Summit on the global page. How has it evolved over the years? Because it started as a successor to Shanghai 5 and now Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit. When it brings together countries of the region, help us understand what is it, what is its position on the global page?
Well, if you look at the composition of countries that have joined SCO over the years, it's not limited to membership. You have countries like Uzbekistan,
Yes.
Pakistan, Kyrgyzstan, and as well as Belarus, Iran, China, Pakistan, Russia. Now, these are players who have had multilateral groupings apart from, what we've seen originally as the G20 or the G7. Not saying that it's a force that is challenging those already post-Second World War order set up back then, but it is also ensuring at the same time that a grouping which requires cooperation on regional security issues and more or less economic issues will certainly come together and talk and deliberate on those issues as well. So this is what the importance of the SCO so far has been, at least from the Indian perspective. Well, other countries tend to gain what they can from it. But then you have oil-rich nations who are also part of the SCO, which makes it an interesting mix, especially when you talk about economic engagement. And in the recent past, you've seen that there have been projects that have been funded across these countries, and there have been collaborations where these projects have seen a good forward movement, and that will continue to come in as long as these member nations meet each year and talk about the regional issues and further projects that could come in. For example, China has invested heavily in many countries when it comes to infrastructure development, particularly oil-rich nations. So there has been a particular movement in that direction. But for India, it remains important to engage with Eurasian nations because this is one of the platforms which allows it to do so.
Yes, Jessica, please continue. Jessica, are you there with us? All right, our correspondent Jessica there telling us more about India's stance at the SCO Summit wherein the External Affairs Minister participated today. Up on your screens, we have the highlights, the takeaways of the SCO Summit, the parts of the External Affairs Minister's speech at the forum. The minister touched upon important aspects and important issues that are relevant to the world at present. He talked of how this summit is taking place at difficult times. He referred to how the world has risen out of the COVID pandemic, and now it faces two continuing wars. He also talked of how disruptions of various kinds are witnessed, be it extreme climate events or for that matter, the supply chain uncertainties, the financial volatility, how these are impacting growth and development. The minister also talked of how it is important that the SCO spells out the goals and tasks, and also how it is important to develop multifaceted cooperation, especially of a regional nature. Jessica is there with us. Jessica, debt is an important concern, said the External Affairs Minister, but at the same time, he also pointed out other areas of cooperation which could further lead to strengthening of the summit. Get us more on that.
That's correct. And if you look at the statement from the External Affairs Minister, he has also pointed out that, and to the effect that I quote, he says that our endeavors will progress only when our commitment to Charter remains firm And that, of course, for development and growth, according to him, that requires peace and stability and the kind of current geopolitical environment that doesn't allow it to thrive. So certainly concerns from the Indian side have been put forward. But when it comes to India and its representation at the SCO, it's particularly limited to how it can see the progress, take stock of the the current initiatives that have been underway. But more importantly, the focus is, of course, also on combating terrorism. Now, they have a structure that is the SCO structure that does look into the cooperation when it comes to anti-terror networks and also anti-terror to prevent terror exercises as well. So we've seen those kind of cooperations in the past. But for India and for Dr. S. Jaishankar, it is important that the firm has it is uncompromising when it comes to the three evils, and that would be terrorism, extremism, and separatism. And also, according looking at the aspects of territorial sovereignty and integrity, also an important factor, which again comes in the ambit of security concerns for the region.
Jessica, also help us understand India's participation at the forum. The statement of the External Affairs Minister talks of Indian perspective also. How important is India's concerns and India's participation at the forum?
Right, and if you go through with the speech, and as you pointed out, India's momentum at this summit would be to an extent to have industrial cooperation, which is what Jaishankar said. That there could be more and to enhance the competitiveness and also expanding labor markets. As I said earlier, this particular multilateral event is significantly focused on how the economic cooperation can be advanced, accompanied by security as well. So that is what it limits itself to.
Jessica, are you there with us? So that was our correspondent Jessica spelling out more on the External Affairs Minister's statement at the SCO Summit in Islamabad. Up on your screens, we have the highlighters. We have the important points put forth by the Prime Minister, by the External Affairs Minister during his speech at the SCO Summit in Islamabad. He underlined the formative principles of the SCO. He also talked of the concerns of India and also how this forum is relevant given the way the world is witnessing the global challenges at present, be it the two wars that are being witnessed, be it the climate change, the supply chain uncertainties, financial irregularities. So put all this together, the External Affairs Minister summed up the relevance of the SCO Summit that took place in Islamabad. Very quickly, we'll summarize the External Affairs Minister's statement at the forum. The Minister talked of how debt is in fact a serious concern and also how the world falls behind in achieving the SDG Sustainable Development Goal targets. The Minister also talked of how it is important for the member states, for the member countries in fact, to strengthen mutual trust, friendship and good neighbourliness. He also talked of the forum as a whole. He said the multifaceted cooperation, especially of a regional nature, is important to thrive. He also talked of how it is to be, in fact, a positive force in terms of balanced growth, integration and conflict prevention. Now, these were the important points which were put forth by Dr. S. Jaishankar. He also put forth what are the key challenges faced by the grouping and also how SCO was committed to combating terrorism, separatism and extremism. This was highlighted by the External Affairs Minister during his speech at the SCO Summit. Now, the SCO Summit is a successor to the Shanghai 5. And we've seen how over the years it has evolved and more countries are a part of it now. The Minister also talked of the inception of the Charter to the situation that we face today. He talked of how tasks and goals are even more crucial in the present times. He also called for renewed commitment, sincerity towards the Charter, so that the member countries can realize the benefits of cooperation and integration which the Charter envisages. The minister also talked of the global challenges that the world is facing at present. Globalization and rebalancing are the realities, he said, which cannot be denied. He also talked of how this could be He also talked of how the region would benefit immensely if they take the ideas of the Charter forward. So that was the gist of the External Affairs Minister's statement at the SCO Summit in Islamabad today. In the bulletins that follow, we'll get to other highlights as well. As of now, that's it in this edition of DD India Live. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those of you on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. And you can download the respective QR codes. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur, signing off, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.